Let's go, it's the Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show. Whitey Show.
Which one, old man, that ain't got time to shake your hand? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Star Ocean has been around forever in my mind because since I played it on the PS1, it's been a game that I really have loved. The series has been one of those games that you can go back to. It has that action RPG, and it always worked really well. And though some of them I didn't like as much, like Star Ocean 3, I did enjoy almost all of them. So here comes Star Ocean 5, or basically it's almost like a reboot to the series from what I can understand, and it's on the PS4 and also the PS3. So are we excited? Is this the Star Ocean game we've been waiting for? Is this the Japanese RPG of the year? Let's find out.
Which one, old man, that ain't got time to shake your hand? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
Right off the bat, combat has always been the strongest thing in a Star Ocean game, and here it's no different. In this game, you have strong attack, weak attack, you have special attacks when you hold down the X button to do an attack, hold down the circle button, you do a special attack, and so on, and you can combine those, do alternate moves, and it really does make the combat a lot of fun. Also, you can switch on the go to all these different characters that all have their own unique play style. So you could be a ranger, you could be a magic user, you could be a sword user, a hammer, fist, so on. So each character feels different, and it's really, really easy just to switch between the characters with no hassle or any issues there. Another thing I did like about the game is the characters aren't half bad. There's nobody annoying, and even though there is a child in this game, which seems to be a recipe for disaster for Japanese RPGs, here it's not too bad. I didn't go crazy, I didn't want to kill her, I just thought she was an okay character. So overall, the characters are better than I expected, which I guess is kind of a bad thing if you expect them to be annoying and they're not as annoying. But overall, it was nice to have refreshing, normal characters in a Japanese RPG.
Fireball!
Unfortunately, that's kind of where the good ends in this title. Let's talk about some of the things that really just drag the title down and maybe not make them unplayable, but really just hurt the overall feel of the game. First off is the backtracking. It is very present in this game. You will be seeing the same areas over and over and over again. And yes, this is a common trait in most RPGs in general. However, it is so boring because of another issue. This game feels outdated. It just feels like it belonged on an early PS3 RPG. Then there's another issue. Everything feels very empty. The towns are filled with AI, but they really don't add anything or any life to it. When I walked around in a lot of RPG games, I want to feel like I'm alive in the city, like the city is there to be there for a reason. In this game, they just feel like stilted AI that just tell you some random bullshit thing when you click X on them. Also, it just feels like it's not a lot of content, very dry, and there's not a lot to collect. You even go to the shops and there's like 10 items in each city. That's just not, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's enough content there. Another thing that is very annoying, unskippable cutscenes. Or actually, let's just talk about the majority of the cutscenes in this game not really being cutscenes, but where you just walk around with the character and listen to people talk, except you can't skip it, and you can't really go any quicker, and you just gotta stand there in a circle, and it's just not all that fun.
And judging by the toys, I'd say one used to specifically monitor children.
Maybe we can data mine the system if the console still works.
Let me try.
And probably the biggest fault is the story itself isn't all that interesting, which makes the cutscenes, or non-cutscenes, really not that fun to sit through. So when you're hearing these characters talk about, you know, protecting this little girl, going to different planets, taking this out, it just all becomes kind of boring, and you start to go to sleep. And that's the biggest issue this game has, is that it gives you an uninteresting story that you are hoping will keep your attention, but sadly does not.
Which one, old man, that ain't got time to shake your hand? Get that side check, put it in pockets till I get back. Going downtown.
At this point, you're thinking, I think Star Ocean is a terrible game, and it really isn't. A lot of the problems are small, but there's enough of them to really drag down my experience. I was pretty hyped for this game. I checked out one or two videos way in the past when they first announced it. I was like, awesome. I really enjoyed Star Ocean 4 despite it having some really bad voice acting. It was still a super fun game that had great graphics at the time. So when I went to go get this game, I put it in, I already felt like I've been playing a past gen game on my PS4. That is just not cool. And not that I'm a graphic whore, but it just doesn't feel like it's up to date. I feel like Star Ocean 4 may have had better graphics. On top of that, while the combat is super fun at times, and I do like switching between the characters, it's just, there's no appeal to finish the game, to be honest. The story is just bleh. And while the characters are somewhat interesting, everything else feels so empty inside. Like there's nothing to really do. So with that, I'm going to give Star Ocean a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's a decent, kind of okay game. It could have been better, and if the things I mentioned don't annoy you, like the outdated graphics, the unskippable cutscenes, or the empty feel of the world, you might have more fun with this game because the combat is fun, or if you find this story somewhat interesting. For anybody else, this game is totally a rent, or buy when it's like 15 bucks.
Debt of gratitude.
Just wait until my technological discoveries surpass even yours.
Please see that no harm comes to Aurelia.
We will. You take care down there.
All the best.
Aurelia, you take care of yourself. Miki.
Grab happiness by the horn.
Fidel. Bye-bye, Aurelia. So long. Toodaloo. Miki. Fidel.